As consumers, we are bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. And what's up, Obscurians? It's time for another episode of Obscurity Now, the show that takes a look at weird and almost forgotten pieces of media. Then we decide if they should be remembered for all of human history or tossed in the black void of obscurity, never to be heard from again. My name is Steve, and with me, he's known as the irreplaceable...
Yahel, how's it going, Steven?
Oh man, it's just been absolute chaos this weekend. I don't know, cats and dogs living together, ketchup and mustard in the same bottle. It's been nuts. How about yourself?
Oh, it was great. Week, as you know. No, it's been not the best week. But no, things are good. I watched California Dreams today, actually.
Mm-hmm.
While the thing we're covering, I watched it while running on the treadmill, and I don't know. I'm not saying that this is anything to do with whether I'm going to end up recommending it or not,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe not the best thing to watch on a treadmill. Just because in public, because like it'll randomly, like in that intro, just have like. I'm sure they're like in their 20s, but you know they're made to look like they're like teenagers in like bikinis and stuff.
Oh
Like this
yeah,
intro, I'm just like,
We're
oh,
definitely going to comment about that, but no, the aforementioned chaos was all about I don't know, trying to figure out what to do for this episode because you had a bit of a family emergency last week, and you said you weren't going to be available, so I was scrambling, and like the first. There's these guys who've been contacting me on Twitter who've they wanted to, I don't know, do the old show exchange or whatever. They wanted to come on to ours and we were going to go on to theirs or something like that. So I was like, hey, co-host is kind of busy. You want to fill in for him? Unfortunately, I guess it was too last minute. They couldn't do it. So I was going to have my friend Tim of Tim's Toy Box fame on YouTube, whose videos I edit. He was going to sit in for you, and he was going to come over, and we were going to record IRL. And he did come over, but before he came over, he was like, bought a frozen pizza. I'm like, why don't we just go out to lunch afterwards? He's like, nope, too late. I already bought it. I'm like, okay, whatever. And like I had assumed that he like bought himself like a personal like Totino's or something like that. Like I go over to my like apartment's main door to like let him in. I see him step out of his car. He's got a full DiGiorno, like he's like holding it like this, like a pizza delivery man almost. And I'm like, our oven's broken, but you can cook it in the air fryer. You just have to cut it in half. Oh wait, aside from a full DiGiorno, he also had additional like spaghetti sauce, or not spaghetti sauce, but like tomato sauce, extra cheese. He had like a full. He was basically making an entire pizza as he was walking
Jesus,
from.
man.
Yeah, and so when I told him we didn't have the oven, he was like, "Oh man, that sucks." I'm like, it's no big deal. You just cut it in half, and you cook it that way. He's like, "Nah, I gotta cook it the way I want to cook it, the way I usually do. Like I can't wait." And I'm like, okay. Did you? He had an audition later on, like near my place. So the idea was for him to record, and then he would be going to his audition. But he's like, well, I got to be able to cook my pizza the way I want to. So rather than cook it, in my air fryer, he went
So
home.
ridiculous.
He went home, and then thus we recorded nothing. And so that brings us to today. I don't know if, I don't even know if it's even worth mentioning, But yeah, this episode will go up one day late. I doubt anyone was like sitting there, like beating on their computer keyboard, going, "Where's the latest obscurity now?" I mean, just me, just
No,
me.
I heard that Brentley Gore was really looking forward to.
Who was that?
It's the lead guy from California
That's his
Dream,
real name. Well, you handle the.
Brentley Gore.
I mean, he's just Matt. What's their last name? I watched it at like the beginning of the week. I forgot everything already. Hold on, Matt
Right.
Stryker. No, it's
His character name is Matt
Matt
Garrison.
Matt Garrison. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I mean, he's the only Matt on the show. I
Right.
don't.
Well, I just forgot their last name. But yeah. So that's like the go nowhere backstory of this episode. But hey, here you are. Glad to have you back. Why don't we go ahead and dive a little bit deeper into California Dreams? What do you say?
Sounds like something to do.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
Alrighty, the aforementioned California Dreams. So did you watch this back in the day, back in 1992 to 1997 when it ran?
I've seen this episode before.
Oh, I'm sure I have
Uh,
too. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I definitely never watched it regularly.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even say like if Saved by the Bell came on or whatever while I was flipping the channels, there's a pretty good chance I would stop on there
Mm-hmm.
and watch the episode, even if you've seen it a bunch of times. Like there's
Sure.
just something about it. California Dreams, I never had that with where it's like, oh, it's on. It was usually like I was watching something before it and then it came on and maybe I watched it because I had nothing else to do. But no, I never watched this regularly. What about you?
I would say, maybe I watched it slightly along the same lines, maybe a little more. But yeah, I feel like this was the show that came on either after Saved by the Bell or in between. And
Yeah, like this used to run like on TBS or cable, and I think
mhm,
they grouped it with Saved by the Bell, like some kind of block or something.
absolutely. I mean, and it's definitely similar vibes, if you will. But I mean, obviously, it never reached the level of pop culture success that Saved by the Bell did, because yeah, I mean, it came after and it was so similar. But that's to chat about later. Let's see. For those of you who aren't familiar, basically the California Dreams is it's almost exactly like Saved by the Bell. Would you say? I mean, it takes place in California. It's almost like what if they gave the Zack Attack its own show, right?
Man, I don't know if I actually kind of disagree. I would have agreed before watching this, but I was like, wow, this is not as close to Saved by the Bell as I thought it was, unless there's other episodes.
Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing, and we're gonna get to it. I guess we should just mention it right now. All right. So yeah, we watched this one, and it plays more like almost like a family sitcom, right? Uh,
Right. And I was like, which I found so weird, but this is the first episode, presumably the pilot.
it,
For those that want to watch it, it's called The First Gig.
mm-hmm,
It's on YouTube.
mm-hmm.
Pretty decent quality if you search for California Dreams season 1, episode 1.
Yep. Thank you for mentioning that. And yeah, basically, this episode came out, and the fans and the people at NBC who produced this show, basically, they're like, we don't care about the family, we only care about the band. So they immediately started with the cuts, like over the season. Basically, I think the sister goes away, and like the mom and dad too, and the only one that's left is why can't I Matt Garrison. I think he's the only one left. And then I remember they like later on, a few episodes later, they get the guy who basically takes over as lead singing duties. He's like the bad boy guy. You remember him? He wore a leather jacket and had, and
No.
then they also add the Asian girl as well.
Wow, and the show only has 78 episodes, so I'm kind of surprised all this happened in a way. But
Yeah, well,
all
I
right,
mean, I guess they just started retooling like right out the gate. Like no one cared about the Garrison family household. They only wanted to know about the band. I mean, I don't know about you, but
do they keep the parents the whole
no, they
series
drop
or?
off also. I don't think like after the first season, the only Garrison that's left is Matt.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but and I forgot to check to see if he actually sang the song,
Hmm.
but I did see that Matt Garrison actor is what's his name again?
Brent
Like
Gore, Gore, Gore.
Brentley Gore. He is a real musician,
Hmm.
and he's put out some albums. And coincidentally, I came across a video of him singing acoustically the California Dreams theme song from just a couple years ago, actually. But his voice is different because he was like 18 when he saw the show, so it's hard to tell
Oh, so
if
wait,
it's him
wait. He's like
singing.
California Dreams. Is that what he sounds like?
No, no. I mean, it sounds like it might like he might have sang it, but again, it's just hard to tell because over 18 years, the voice just isn't the
Yeah,
same.
no, that's what he sounds like now. He sounds like he's been having a half a pack.
Sounds like a pack of
Yeah,
cigarettes,
exactly.
singing
Singing
in
pack
the
of
key of C.
cigarettes. Exactly. Yeah, because the dreams have died. All right, so let's jump into the IMDb here. Yep, California Dreams season 1, episode 1, the first gig. But California Dreams itself ran from 1992 to 1997, 5 seasons, 78 episodes. And this episode premiered September 12th, 1992. And here's a synopsis. The California Dreams are hired to play their first gig, but when Richard books a family trip to the Grand Canyon, that's the dad, on the same night as the gig, Matt and Jenny must choose between fulfilling their dream or disappointing their father. Which is
Mm,
so
mm,
stupid.
mm.
Anyway, this is directed by Don Bon. This is directed by Don Barnhart. Why is that hard? Barnhart. Barnhart. There you go. And he is a big time TV guy. Directed Full House episodes, 81 episodes of Saved by the Bell, 91 episodes of Saved by the Bell, The New Class, and 38 episodes of this show, California Dreams. And the writers here are also the creators, Brent Dewey and Ronald B. Solomon. And they also wrote for Saved by the Bell, The College Years, the regular Saved by the Bell, New Class, and they also have a few other shows called City Guys and Malibu CA. Have you ever heard of those shows, by any chance?
No, so these guys were really obsessed with the whole California thing, which well, it was kind of like a thing in the 90s
Yeah,
too.
yeah, it was. I feel like as we're gonna see, I feel like California Dreams laid into it even more than Saved by the Bell did. But we'll see.
Hmm.
So yeah, in case it's not blaringly obvious, this is Peter Engel Productions, which also did Saved by the Bell. So there you go. That's why they're all so similar.
But didn't Peter Engel create Saved by the Bell?
Yeah, I believe he did. Um,
So he's only producing this
right,
one.
like so basic.
I wonder if they came to him, if they were like, "Hey, you seem to have a knack for this kind of stuff."
Yeah, I'm sure it's
That's it. That's my only
yeah,
thought about it.
I'm.
In fact, I gotta go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Yahel just quit. No. No, I mean I'm sure like, those writers, like after they proved to Peter that they were up to snuff in the teen sitcom genre, they were like, hey Peter, we got an idea. It's almost exactly like yours, but slightly different. He's like, great, print it, make it. And thus, that's how California Dreams came to be. At least that's how I imagine it. But Peter Eagle Productions, aside from all the Saved by the Bell stuff, they also produced, I think it's like a, I don't know, direct to pay per view like special or something called Naked but Funny. Did you happen to catch Naked but Funny?
No, I'm sorry. This is like a California Dreams related
No,
thing.
only because Peter Engel Productions. Yeah,
Okay. I was like, what?
yeah, and basically the synopsis for it on IMDb is pranks revolving around people being naked. So
Oh, I have heard of
so
this.
pervs of the internet, You know what to do.
I have heard of this,
All right,
actually. I don't think I ever watched any of it, but
well, surprise, it's next week's episode. Nah, I don't know. All right, well, that's going to do it for me. Aside from Brentley Gore, who else acted in this show?
All right, well, as I might as well already go over Brentley Gore here. He had all of 5 other credits to his name, so 6 in total. He has not a lot of space and time between these acting gigs too. Like nothing you've ever heard of.
Nothing that sounds interesting.
Shrek Thriller Night.
Okay, man, I'm not even familiar with that one. Man, now that's truly obscure.
It's a short, 6 minutes long, but it seems to maybe have been actually licensed.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell from the still images, but it looks like, the same animation quality. So anyway, he hasn't acted since 2016. Like I said, he still looks like he's active with music. We've got Kelly Packard, who plays Tiffany Smith. I think Kelly Packard's probably best known from Baywatch.
Oh, okay.
Like at least I think that's what she's most known for. She did like 50 episodes of that. She also did, I guess she was it says she was a field correspondent for Ripley's Believe It or Not for 35 episodes.
Well, good for her.
I mean, I watched a few of those. I don't know. I guess I never.
Was it the Dean Cain era of Ripley's Believe It or Not?
Probably because it's between 2002, right? 2003, something like that. So.
Did you try to watch?
Yeah, I would assume
this is
so.
a tangent, but did you try to watch Ripley's Believe It or Not when Bruce Campbell hosted it?
I don't think so.
I did.
I don't think I ever even knew that was a thing.
Oh, I mean,
I'm sure you watched it.
Yeah, but even with him hosting it, it's still, I don't know. I just don't care. I just don't care. Anyway.
All right, Williams, James Jones plays Tony Wicks.
He likes to be called WJJ.
I see. He really doesn't have a lot of other stuff to his name. A few of these people were in The Pretender, like in random one-off episodes.
Nice.
He was in USA High for 21 episodes, and I do like the name of his character from USA High, Dwayne Wilson. Dwayne Excess Wilson. So like his nickname was Excess.
Nice.
So it just feels like that should be like a heel wrestler.
Yeah,
or something.
right.
Then we've got Michael Cade playing Sylvester, aka Sly Winkle. So I lost. Excellent. Close out his page here. He has. It looks like he's still acting here and there. His last gig was in 2020, but he's got 25 credits to his name. I mean, this is stuff though that for the most part, I mean, nothing I really recognize except for Totally Blonde, which I think was some kind of Michael Bublé ripoff Legally Blonde.
Wait, Michael Bublé acts?
Well, I think this was supposed to be like the vehicle because it's starring Michael Bublé, Krista Allen, Maeve Quillen, Brody Hudson. Just a bunch of people you've never heard of.
Bunch of Canadians.
And it came out around the same time as Legally Blonde. So, then we've got Michael Cutt, who plays Richard Garrison, the father. He's got a bunch of acting credits, well, compared to everybody else. I did see that he was on Seventh Heaven for a while, but outside of that, California Dreams is like his, I think, big claim to fame here. We've got Gail Ramsey, who plays Melody Garrison. I think that was the wife. Yeah. She was in some show called Generations. You ever heard of this?
The only Generations I know is Star Trek Generations. Ugh.
Not that one, unfortunately, but she was also in General Hospital. But yeah, she was on 99 episodes of something called Generations that ran from 89 to 1990. Must have been a soap opera because it had 470 episodes.
Wow, it ran for literal generations.
Like 2 years. Like a year and a half. We're almost done here, thank God. We got Ryan O'Neal as Dennis Garrison, who plays the little brother of the Garrison family. And boy, that kid is obnoxious.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. The atypical like sitcom little, everything he says is so in your face and with tude.
Yeah, yeah. Nothing really of note on his. Oh, I forgot to mention that. Oh wait, I don't think I've gone. Yeah, I did. I went over Heidi Lenhart already. I think who
Mm-hmm.
plays Jenny
Mm-hmm.
Garrison. Oh wait, no, I
No,
didn't.
yeah.
Okay, so I think the reason why I left her off is because she was on an episode of Silk Stockings. Senior.
Thank you for
Just to
differentiating. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, just wanted to be clear. She was also on looks like it says one episode of The Pretender, but she played two characters also, so I'm not
Wow,
really
showing that
sure.
range, Heidi.
Um,
Good job.
yeah, maybe she might. Don't they introduce like other pretenders at some point?
Yeah, that's what you said. Yeah, I didn't watch that far.
Yeah, maybe she was one of those other
Mm,
pretenders. And the last person we've got is Brittany Powell, who plays Randy Joe. She's actually a guest star in this
mm-hmm.
episode, but she's got 61 credits under her name. A bunch of stuff again. You've never heard of it. You don't care about it. Oh wait, she was in General Hospital also for
Oh, I thought you
78
were going to say
episodes.
silk stockings again.
No, no, no. And another man, she hit up all the California shows. She was on Pacific Palisades,
Mm,
Beverly Hills 90210. Um, s- that's it. That's Saved by the Bell, the new
yeah.
class, Saved by the Bell, the college
Mm-hmm.
years, 2000 Malibu Road.
I'm not familiar with
So
that one, but okay.
I don't know. I'm just reading all the California stuff
Right.
in her credits. But that is the cast.
All right. So we'll just dive right in here. The theme begins, and man, I don't know about you, but I don't remember it being so lame. I mean, of course, when it hit, I was like, oh, yeah, that's the theme. I think I was expecting something along the lines of the Saved by the Bell theme, something upbeat to get you pumped.
Not something your mother would throw on in
Yeah, this was
1992
like
to relax after a long day at
Yeah, this was
work.
like Sting when he left the police and was doing like adult contemporary. like,
Yeah, it feels like this like when the song ends, someone's like you're gonna hear a radio host chime in with Michael Bolton's up next after these messages,
yeah.
you know,
Oh
like
man, I'm like, kids aren't gonna like this. But it's weird. At least after watching the episode, I was like, maybe it's just. It's weird. No, that doesn't make sense either because the theme is laid back, but the show is like not. It's like, it's your basic sort of Saved by the Bell vibe. And what kids, I mean, you want kids to be like into the theme and the music that the California Dreams are
right,
playing.
right.
So yeah, why are they
Like
playing?
the California Dreams are not as good as the Zack
No,
Attack.
you got that right. And they never will be with that attitude. All right, so yeah, basically the theme begins, and it's basically like a very typical of the time '90s style music video of like all the girls are in bikini tops and like I don't know the dudes. I don't really remember what they're wearing, but they're all looking and singing to the camera. There's a lot of jumping. Like, did you remember that? Like, they're just
Hmm.
always in the air for some reason, and yeah, it's not very 90s at all. Not extreme, not in your face the way it should have been. But yeah, instead, you get your Michael Bolton style opening here. Yeah, I'm not ever going to go back to listen to this again. But even if you,
Oh well, we got to hear the song
that's what I was going
twice.
to say. Like, if you don't like it, too bad because you're going to hear it again at the end of this episode. So,
Yeah, that felt like a real cheap way to like fill in
oh,
time.
yeah, 100%. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay, so now we are inside the Garrison kitchen. Mom and Dad sit at the table. Jenny Garrison walks in, and her mom greets her, and she sits at the table. We find out that Dad is a college teacher. Like, basically, there's just a lot of extraneous dialogue saying who does what here, because nobody knows these characters, because this is the first episode ever, so you're finding out who does what. Um,
Right.
and Jenny's younger bro walks in and he takes the comics from Dad. Like this sort of little joke here is Dad's trying to read the paper, but people come in and they take a paper here, a section there. Ha! And it's funny because Dad can't read it.
Hmm.
um, and yeah, so little Ryan O'Neal, what was his name again? Dennis. Dennis Garrison. He takes the comics from Dad, and Dad says, "That's okay because I have the classifieds, and now I can look for discount tickets to our trip to the Grand Canyon." Which I mean, they're trying to tell you like what's happening here, and yeah, for some reason the dad here just has a grand boner for the Grand Canyon. I guess he's always wanted to go, and for whatever reason, the time just wasn't right.
Yeah, it's real weird. Like, the dad is like acting like the way the entire family actually talks about going to the Grand Canyon. They talk about it like they're like it's going to Hawaii or Italy, something that's just like, oh, how are we ever going to achieve this? Because it's the dad's dream.
Right. The Grand Canyon is not going anywhere, and you can drive to the Grand Canyon pretty much anytime you want, and it doesn't even cost any money to go. For the most, or when you get there,
right.
I've been to the Grand Canyon.
I looked it up. It's a 9.5 hour drive from California to the Grand Canyon. You don't even have to get these plane tickets.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know what our writers here were thinking. They didn't think too hard. That's okay. I mean, it's not like this is the most cerebral show ever. But anyway, so Matt enters, Matt Garrison, the oldest, and he says, "Don't mock Dad in his dream to go to the Grand Canyon." And then he, too, takes the classifieds from his dad as well to continue this utterly lame gag. Anyway, Matt tells Jenny that they need to get the band together to practice so they can get a real gig. And then Sly enters wearing a vest made from a cow. Do you remember this vest?
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much how you described it. You know, he's just got like it looked like there was a little bit of like faux cow fur or something on there.
I don't remember that being a popular trend in the 90s, but there you go. But my favorite part here with Sly here, he's like, how would you describe Sly? He's not a Screech.
I felt like he was supposed to be like the Zach Morris.
Yeah, in a way,
character.
more of he's a schemer sort. Yeah, just like Zach, but not the main character. Sort of like main character adjacent.
Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, just kind of. I don't know, odd the beginning because like you mentioned earlier, the first little bit around the kitchen table, it's very like sitcomish, where if there's no laugh track, you don't even know these are supposed to be jokes, kind of a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like the first half of this episode is very sitcom-y.
Oh yeah.
And then the second half turns into a Saved by the Bell light.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess at this point, because we've watched other sitcoms like from around this era, and there's always like a next door neighbor who always pops up, and that's kind of like what Sly feels like here. I don't know if he says that he even lives near them or not, but that's what he feels like to me. And of course, he's always
but this is a common trope too in the 90s, the uninvited, kind of sleazy teenage neighbor.
Sure. Oh, and I'm glad you said the word sleazy because Sly here. He goes right ahead and hits on Jenny right in front of Mom and Dad. And they're just...
Yeah, and they don't even react.
They're perfectly okay with it because, you know, it was the 90s and boys will be boys.
I guess so, man.
I mean, I don't mean that, of course, but I'm just like, why? I mean, I guess it's just supposed to be harmless or whatever. Yeah, as Yahel said, parents didn't care. They're perfectly okay with it. In fact, I think I saw Mom and Dad exchange glances like, maybe Jenny's going to get some. You know, I might have made that up, but, you know, watch the episode and see for yourself, listeners. Okay, so Sly tells Matt they need to go to Sharky's because the early bird gets the babes. I remember before we used to go to Peabody's every night, you know, to hand out music to everyone. You used to say that as well. You used to go, Steve, bro, we got to go to Peabody's because the early bird gets the babes. Those were the days, man. Those were the days.
Yeah, and I'd be like, yeah, all right, let's go there at 9 a.m. because like they were just like eating breakfast.
Yeah,
like,
right.
but I mean, I guess this is like on the beach. and people are out there early to like surf and that kind of stuff. So it did kind of make sense. But if you don't know
Mm.
that they're going to like a place on the beach, is it like a
I
restaurant slash bar? I
I've got it as
guess.
a, diner. I mean, it's basically the Max, but it's on the beach.
I, I was just gonna say I've got it in my notes as not the
Right,
max.
yeah. We've got to get to not the Max because the early bird gets the babes. So we cut to Sharky's, and yeah, I think we already talked about it enough. It's basically the Max, but with more bikini-clad girls. So Matt and Sly enter. Sly tells Matt his band is lacking a manager, and he wants to do it. But Matt is reluctant because, Sly is just such a schemy, sleazy guy. He's going to take him for everything that they're worth, I guess. I mean, why? He hasn't even gotten a chance to prove that he wasn't good. But I think he said he gave him some sort of example on why he didn't think he would be a good manager or whatever. But don't you want like a sleazy guy to be your manager? That way you can get the big gigs, right?
Right, right. That's you would think,
If
right?
Estancia
But
would have
you
had
know,
Sly as a manager, we'd be rock stars by now. You hell, maybe.
we missed out on finding our Sly.
Yes, right. So yeah, they sit down at a table, and this cracked me up because Sly sits Slater style at the head of the table. Did you notice that?
What's that?
That Sly sat,
You cut out. Sorry.
Sly sat Slater style in the chair. He turned the chair backwards and.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, he's such a cool bad
Right,
boy.
right. And this is Peter Engel, and that's how. There's always got to be at least one person sitting at a diner table like that.
Oh, of course, of course.
So Tony Wicks, a fellow band member, approaches and gives Sly a cool handshake because, of course, again, this is the '90s. He hits on a passing girl. Do you have the his lame pickup line written down? Because I do.
Was oh my God. Yes, I remembered. I didn't have to write it down. He's like, "Oh, have you been arrested lately or something like that? Because your looks are kill." Why don't you?
Close, close, close. I'm going to have to place you under citizen's arrest because your looks are killer. And the best part is that she was completely okay with it. She was just like, oh you. Like,
And then as she walks away, he's like, "I love being
yeah.
me."
Right, right.
He's like, "I love harassing
Everyone
women."
here is a sexual predator, and I love it. No, not really. But anyway, so Toady tells Sly he doesn't want him as a manager either. It's like, man, just nobody wants this sleazy Sly. Tiffany enters carrying a surfboard. She's wearing like your sort of typical body glove, like bodysuit or
Yeah.
whatever. She joins the rest. And we then learn that Matt pines for a rich girl by the name of Randy Joe, but for whatever reason, he's scared to ask her out. I mean, you're the lead singer and guitarist of the California Dreams, baby. Like, where's the confidence here?
Yeah, oh, this was so
Oh,
lame.
sure.
Like this whole like, comedy sequence here with like him go, and cracking his voice when she comes over to talk to him. And
Yeah, especially since, I mean, clearly Chris Gore here has got to be in his 20s. It's just.
so I did the math. He would have been 18.
Okay. All right.
19 at the oldest when the show aired.
Gotcha. So the manager of Sharky's tells Wicks he needs to get back to work. Randy Joe approaches Matt, and then, yeah, as Yahel said, his voice cracks, and she asks if she can come by and listen to the band play, and of course he says yes. So I don't think there's anything else important about that scene, right?
No, no, no,
It's
not
pretty.
at all. I will say at this point the comedy felt very like Big Bang Theory esque as far as quality level.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I mean, at least the unfortunate thing about the Big Bang Theory is that I think they think that they're smart by making them all nerds. At least there's no pretension here. They know this is like a lame, 90s Saved by the Bell knockoff.
yeah.
At least I hope they do. So we are now in the Garrison basement. The band is there. Randy Joe shows up. Sly says they are taking applications for groupies. Whoa, man. It just gets sleazier and sleazier with the California Dreams here.
And the poor girl is just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she doesn't know it's the implication here, Yahel. So they play a song about surfing, but it doesn't feel like a full song. It just feels like a couple of bars or something. And
yeah, it's pretty quick.
Yeah, and Randy is she's sold and asks if they can play her Sweet 16 party, and I'm like, what? 16? Randy? You? Like, man.
She's like the oldest looking out of all the kids, I think.
She must have developed early, is all I have to say about that. And Sly, he sees his opportunity and pounces. No, not on Randy Joe, but the opportunity to become the manager. He says, no, the California Dreams won't play for anything less than $250. And since Randy Joe is a rich girl, she says, no problem. Anything else to add there?
No. Adjusted for inflation, that's pretty close to $500, So
yeah,
not bad for your first gig.
Oh no, I mean, I feel like we never took home $250 for any of our gigs that we played.
Our first gig, actually, we took $400.
Was our first gig at the Brass Mug?
Yeah.
Wow. I guess a lot of people showed up for that one. And then we all, and then that money went back into the band, and we never saw any of it. So anyway, cut to the Garrison kitchen. Matt and Jenny approach Mom and tell her about the gig. Then Dad enters, and they are about to tell him about the gig as well, but he beats them to the punch to tell them that he booked tickets to the Grand Canyon. And I just want you to know, this is the last show ever for the Grand Canyon. He's retiring after this, and they're never going to get a chance to go.
That's right.
He says they fly out Friday afternoon. So, I mean, the Garrisons must have mad cash because, if you don't book a flight far enough in advance, or no, actually, it's just a ride. It's just a flight to the Grand Canyon, so it must cost nothing, basically, because it's not that far away.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a 90-minute flight.
So, and it's the same day as their gig, and now they are back in the garage. Matt and Jenny break the bad news to the rest of the band, and they are rightfully angry. I just couldn't imagine if one of us showed up to practice and we're like, guys, we can't play the Brass Mug because my dad booked tickets to, I don't know, some lame place. It's just so ridiculous, right? Really far-fetched.
Yeah, it's like he got tickets to the Coca-Cola Museum in Atlanta. Like an 8-hour drive
even
from
worse,
Florida.
It's like, guys, my dad got tickets to Busch Gardens on the same day as our gig, so
yeah, there you go.
Can't
there
make
you
it
go.
happen. And the thing I also find funny about this is I can't tell you how many times I got tickets to see a band that I really wanted to see. Actually, it only happened 2 or 3 times. There was a time I was supposed to see Primus, but then the band I was in at the time, not us, a different band, booked a gig on the same time. And there wasn't even a question. I wasn't going to be like, well, can we reschedule? It's just, goodbye tickets to Primus. Time to go play the New World Brewery or something to 6 people. But anyway, that's life as a musician, I suppose, in the real world. They assume that their dad will get angry, which, I mean, from seeing how the dad acted at in the first scene, how he's all just, goofy sitcom dad. Could you see that guy flying off the handle?
Yeah, especially, I mean, he was just letting the whole family run over him, taking the newspaper right from his hand as he's reading it.
Right. Right.
So I don't know. He seems like quite the doormat.
Yeah,
So
exactly. It's like Matt and Jenny could just be like, "Screw you, Dad. Not only are we going to play the gig, we're going to do a whole bunch of drugs afterwards too." And he'd be like, "All right, just
but you know, we do find out though that the kids really do like their dad. I guess he's like a really good dad. So it's probably more that they just don't want to
sure."
disappoint him than
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, exactly. Uh,
Or you know, maybe one time he really beat the shit out of them. And he's had them in fear ever since.
Matt, Jenny, close the door. Like, and he just
It's time for your California nightmare.
well played, sir. Well played. All right, so basically, this whole scene here, the resolution here is, oh, we're gonna ask Mom to tell him. So they cut to the kitchen, and she's already in mid sentence. Absolutely not. And when you tell him, make sure he's not near anything breakable. So you're right. Apparently Matt and Jenny's dad is a violent guy. It's I guess he's a very sort of Jekyll and Hyde kind of character here because
Yeah.
when you he's like make sure nothing breakable like your face is around.
Don't bring any of your bones to the meeting with your dad.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess they live in fear of their dad, even though he seems like a very likable, laid back, as you said, doormat. And then little bro the whole time, Dennis, keeps saying, "Oh, you're doomed, and he runs out of the room. Like, man, they were really stretching for something for him to do in this scene. But yeah, I mean that's the only. At this point, I'm laughing because yeah, it's the implication that Papa Garrison here is very liberal with the fisticuffs on his family. So, all right, Tiffany comes out with a terrible idea to ask Randy Joe to change the date of the party. Like,
Yeah, who's gonna do
yeah,
that?
for her sweet 16, even though she's clearly 21. But Matt
Yeah.
says he'll ask her because they have a date coming up. And now we are in Matt's room. Matt and Jenny enter, and Matt is wearing a nice button-up yellow shirt. Ugh, like, do you remember this shirt?
It's not good. It's like canary
Yeah,
yellow.
yeah.
Also, yeah.
I mean, how many times have you worn that to the castle?
Not
So let's see. Mom enters. I mean, clearly, a time has lapsed. Mom enters and asks if Matt asked her to move the party. I can't believe Mom is even in on it. Like, anyway, Matt says he couldn't ask. So Dad comes in and he starts giving highlights of the trip. You know what this scene reminded me of? Remember? Oh man. I'm really gonna have to like plunge the depths of my like memory here. Mr. Belding was gonna take everyone to the Grand Tetons for this senior trip, and then his cool brother shows up and is like,
Oh yeah,
"Yeah,
yeah. I remember it's called Rod
yeah,
Sterling.
yeah." Yeah, that's what this reminded me of. And then so they all decided they wanted to go whitewater rafting with the cool Belding. And then they all like leave the classroom. Mr. Belding is by himself, and he just places the brochure into the trash, and then everyone in the crowd goes, "Aww." That scene really stuck with me there, and
Wow, apparently. Big moment in your
well,
childhood.
but anyway, but of course, since it's the Saved by the Bell gang and they only care about themselves, they don't care about disappointing Mr. Belding. Not like
No,
the
of course.
Garrison kids here. So okay, Jin says that she doesn't feel well and leaves. Matt tells Dad about the gig and he's crushed, but says it's okay and they just won't go. And then we get sad transition music. Now we any remarks about that scene? Did it remind you of that Saved by the Bell
Um,
episode too?
no, not really. The dad though lays on quite the guilt
Yeah,
trip.
yes, he does. Like,
Well, like he acts like he's not, he doesn't get mad about it. And then weirdly enough, Matt's like get mad about it, Dad,
Yeah,
please.
hit
Like, I don't
me,
know,
hit me,
maybe.
Dad, please.
Yeah.
Call me a
Make me
bastard.
feel
Yeah.
alive. Yeah,
Defecate on
real
me, Dad.
strange. I'm like, this is Dad Vince
Yeah,
McMahon? What's going on
thank you
here?
for picking up that timely reference. But no,
Um,
well, anyway, were you going to say something?
no. Go
I
ahead.
was
Go
going to
ahead. Go
say
ahead.
again, this is also, I mean, this is obviously California Dreams takes place in a fantasy sitcom universe, but like, no dad, yeah, I mean, there wouldn't even be any like question. He'd be like, all right, go have your gig and we'll figure out the Grand Canyon later, but whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So we cut to Sharkies. Matt says they aren't going to play the gig because they just can't let their dad down. And Sly tries to come up with a plan for them to take a later flight, despite the tickets being non-refundable. So cut to Sly exchanging tickets with an Indian family, but the dad says no tickets until he can meet the famous rock stars. And then, yeah, this is so bad. This is awful. Sly introduces them to Van Halen. I guess they were still together back then. Played by the band in bad wigs that don't even look remotely like Van Halen, and they're holding their instruments. So that means that's all Van Halen is, Yahel. Just wigs and instruments, apparently.
Yeah, apparently so. Or I guess this family is really
Oh,
stupid.
wait. We're going to get to that. So the family is so happy to meet them. They all take a pic together. Matt, he can't take this charade. He takes off his wig, says he can't go through with it, but the Indian family still buys it. So let's let's dissect this scene here. Why why do they need to be Indian?
Well, because it's 1992 and somebody thought the accents would be funny, and because Sly even goes to make a joke, and he says sayonara to
Oh,
them.
okay. So we have a little old, different little different strokes because people are from different foreign lands here. That sort of
Yeah,
thing going
because
on.
and I guess the sayonara joke is supposed to be that Sly is so dumb he doesn't like know the difference between Japanese people and Indian
Okay,
people,
all right. I
but
like where you're going here, but
but
okay.
at the same time, ultimately, they were still trying to make some like racial joke on like a kids
Yeah.
show.
So that's what I'm trying to. Okay, so I assume that Indian people, their eyes work the same way as mine and yours. So why didn't they know that wasn't? They watched the same, Jump music video that you and I watched of Van Halen playing the song Jump. So when the California Dreams show up in these bad wigs, just holding instruments, why can't they tell the difference between the real Van Halen and them?
I don't know, man. Like it's just so dumb. Like you would think at least one family member would have been like, "Hey," but no, they're all like, "Oh, yep, this is the real Van Halen."
Right. So, if I'm one of the writers, the answer here is because he thinks that I just don't want to say it that people from India can't notice things or are stupid. Is that the
I
joke?
guess so because it's the whole family. Like if it wasn't the whole family or
Mm-hmm.
something, I could, but otherwise it does seem like it's because it's the entire family. And even after he takes the wig off, like the family says, "Oh, Van Halen wears a
Mm-hmm.
wig," it does seem like it's just to like make fun of Indian
Yeah,
people.
it's awful. It's awful. So like capital cringe with a capital C here.
Oh, and there's another. They actually have the son in the Indian family make a comment about how like they saw Van Halen. I can't remember
Yeah,
the
at a
place, but he
concert.
mentioned like a well-known place in India.
Mm-hmm.
But he said like even from like a mile back because India is known for being
Right.
overpopulated, so it's like another bit of a dig at India too. He's like even all the way from back there, you were great. It's like
All right. Listen
yeah,
up, India. The writers of California Dreams. They don't like you. I don't know how to break it to you, but they don't
yeah,
like you.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, like usually you and I, because I mean, obviously, we watch stuff that's old, and there'll be like racially insensitive things that kind of this day and age you'd be like, that's probably not like a great thing to say. But we can usually at least understand the context of
Right.
the time, and or at least be like, well, it's unlikely the writers meant it the way it now comes across because we have a better understanding, right, of things. But in this case, I think this is one of the first times that we've kind of really been like, oh yeah, this one might actually just have been just trying to make fun of an entire race.
But Siri, here's the thing here. Right? Not only is it not funny, I mean, you could really throw any nationality in there. It doesn't matter if they're, and but it still wouldn't be funny. That's the thing. Is that
right? It's also just not even a good joke.
It's just not good. They were like,
look, if you're gonna make a racist joke, at least make it funny. Is
right?
What you're saying,
That's
Steve?
all I asked for. Like, I swear they must have been sitting around and like, okay, where is this show not playing? All right, how about India? But then they still had to get Indian actors in there. Oh, well, at least they got paid. At least I hope they did. Okay, moving on. I think we've said enough about this. All right, cut to the party. The Dreams are playing and having a good time. They take a break. Randy is happy and introduces them to another rich friend who wants to hire them, presumably to play her Sweet 16 as well. The rest of the garrison show up, and Dad is happy and proud of them. The Dreams have one more song to play, and it's that awesome, that bitchin' over-the-top theme song that we heard at the beginning. It's basically extended music video of them jumping in the air, and then that's it. And after that, they end up hiring Sly as their manager. The end. Any more? Go ahead.
Do you know the actual name of the song?
I should, as a researcher.
It's "Don't Wake Me Up If I'm Dreaming."
Wow, man, that's creative, very creative. Long, though. A little long.
It is a little long. Seeing it twice, and they literally like not only do they, do you get to hear the song twice, and it's the same studio recording. It's not like it's a live version or anything. You hear it twice, and they show the video, footage that's used during the opening theme song, just without the actors' names, basically. And occasionally they'll throw in like a little like clip of them, at the party performing it. I did throughout the course of the podcast, Steve, because I'm a multitasker, find out that the everybody but one, I don't remember who it was, but all but one of the cast members did perform the theme song to California Dreams. And in 2010, the California Dreams cast reunited on the Jimmy Fallon show. I'm assuming that's where the other joke writers went from California Dreams,
right?
Based on the quality of the Jimmy Fallon jokes. But anyways, they reunited on Jimmy Fallon, and they did an actual live performance of the theme song. And I caught a little clip while we were here doing the show, and yeah, it's definitely them.
Nice. And I just wanted to read off some of these lyrics from the song. I don't know if we'll go through the whole thing, but here's some. Okay. Surf dudes with attitudes. You know the next part?
No, I already forgot.
Kinda groovy.
Oh, yeah. How could I forget?
Laid back moods. Sky above, sand below. Good vibrations. Feeling mellow. Don't wake me up. Don't wanna stop. Don't wake me up. Don't wake me up if I'm dreaming. California Dreams.
No fear.
Yeah. Yeah, hold on. I'll just finish this last bit and that'll be it. Just let me lay here in the sun until my dream is done. No fear.
I was just gonna say, like, every 3 lines could literally be put on the back of a No Fear shirt.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but they just need to up that tempo a bit. Like, God, something. But, yeah.
Yeah, the song is so dreadfully slow. It sounds like not even a 90s, because even in the 90s, like, sitcoms have more upbeat music than this. I would say, like, 70s or early 80s kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
as far as the tempo,
mid to late 80s soft rock or adult contemporary, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, just no energy to the song
And
whatsoever.
it actually brought me down because I was kind of excited to watch this, and then I'm like, all right, let's do this. Play. Don't wake me up. I'm like, Jesus, like, what were you thinking? All right, are you ready to render your verdict?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Remember, obliterated. That's the question.
All right, Yahel Velazquez. Do you think that California Dreams should continue dreaming on through all of human history, or should it be filed away under N for nightmare?
It doesn't have enough personality and character to even be a nightmare
Oh,
or a dream.
ooh.
This is gonna be a no for me. And I'm pretty sure there's actually another Saved by the Bell spinoff that I just can't remember the name of right now that was better
Mm,
and was like, more clearly a Saved by the Bell ripoff
mm-hmm.
than this one. But yeah, I just feel like this cast doesn't really have a lot of chemistry. Also, the jokes aren't great
What about that
or
one where the
good.
Indian people think it's Van Halen? That's hilarious.
Oh, well, yes, I suppose like if you're coming home after a meeting, a clan meeting, and you're looking for something to relax and give you a chuckle, then this might do it for you. Uh,
Oh man.
but otherwise, if you didn't just come from having frozen pizza with the Imperial Wizard, uh, or
Are
what,
you?
or Grand Wizard, whatever they're called, whatever they're LARPing as these days, I don't know. Uh, yeah, it was. I was really disappointed, and I kind of, much like you, when the theme song started, I kind of was like, "Uh-oh, is this not?" I knew it wasn't as good as Saved by the Bell, but I was like, "Oh, is this not even as good as I remember
Oh,
it?"
I forgot to mention this, but yeah, the it's almost the Chris Gaines effect for me,
Oh.
where I was like expecting one from the look of like these fresh-faced youths and their
Hmm.
guitars and their drums and everything. I was expecting one theme song, but then I got a completely mellower, lamer one,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like with Chris Gates.
Uh, yeah. Although Chris Gaines' music is more upbeat than the theme
A
song.
little bit, a little. I'll give you that, but yeah, I too was disappointed. But I will say, I think this is one of those where the pilot sort of leaves a worse taste in your mouth than if we were to watch something maybe from like season two, or because obviously they did a lot of retooling after this one, made it more about the band and less about the lame-o family. They added the Asian girl and the bad boy guy. And I think if we were probably to watch episodes later on, it would probably be a bit better. I mean, usually pilots are pretty rocky from the get go, unless.
They can be rough and not indicative of, once they go to series of like
Mhm.
the cast and the
Because
character
I
and
mean,
how they are.
I guess much like the people watching this when it premiered, I was like, why are we in the Garrison household? Like, why are we hanging out with their like no one wants to like hang out with Slash's mom and dad. They just want to hang out with Slash. I
Right,
mean,
right.
I mean, if you do, that's really weird. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to pan this pilot as well. However, if you do want to check out California Dreams, maybe try a different episode. But yeah, for all those reasons, this one's obliterated. Goodbye.
The heathens have spoken. You are obliterated.
All right. Well, that is California Dreams, ladies and gentlemen. Anything else to add, Yahel? You want to give us some more production updates about your vids?
Yeah. Like I was telling you offline, I have the on-camera segments recorded, edited, laid out on the timeline. Right now, it's like a 46 and a half minute runtime, but I'll hopefully trim that down. we've got like the 3D model for the Game Boy itself already finished, and the cartridge and the Game Boy camera, which I'm only going to touch on a little bit on it, but and a few other like models already set up. So yeah, I'm just kind of basically starting the actual editing now, and hopefully it'll be out fairly soon.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you think the first ever dick pic was sent via Game Boy camera?
Possibly. I mean, you could print them out. There was a Game Boy printer.
I remember it. Yeah. I mean, I just hope that your video touches on the erotic aspects of the Game Boy camera.
Well, it's fun. I did buy like a second Game Boy camera just in case anything happened with mine. And I didn't look through all the pictures, but there are like pictures still from the previous owner on there. So who knows?
Hey, that could make for an interesting episode of Obscurity Now.
I mean, it doesn't hold enough pictures for like.
Oh, I mean, it would just be like a short one or something. But awesome. I'm sure everyone's waiting with bated breath. But I believe that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. Please make sure you subscribe if you haven't. We've actually had a few new subscribers trickle in, so welcome. And if you stick around long enough, you too can become a full-fledged Obscurian, which, what is that? What do you get out of that?
You get a little you get the same kind of aura that Rick Martel had when he was the model. Rick Martel, except the arrogance perfume you spray is your knowledge from the podcast.
If you're really good, maybe we'll defecate on you. But then not let you keep your job.
Poor girl, poor woman.
Yeah, poor lady. All right, so make sure you tune in next week for more obscure media only on Obscurity Now. See you next time.
You've been enjoying Obscurity Now, a podcast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode or hilarious quip. Take us with you by following the download links provided in the show notes to wherever you get podcasts. And take notice of our various social media links, if that's what you're into. I'm not here to judge. And make sure you join us live next week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific as we continue to discuss more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.